That is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, as apparently he pronounces it, in full swing on his campaign tour, trying to make up for his disastrous campaign launch last week by rushing off stage at a campaign stop in New Hampshire. He thinks he can stand up to the great heckler Donald Trump, and he can't even stand up to reporters in New Hampshire. Not ideal, but that's the way this man's campaign is rolling. Here's some more info on that speech. He has taken to campaigning in early states like Iowa and New Hampshire, where he spoke Thursday for about an hour to a crowd in Laconia on what his campaign is calling the Our Great American Comeback Tour. Sounds a little Make America Great Again to me. After he dashed off stage, an Associated Press reporter, Steve Peoples, confronted DeSantis during his little meet and greet with the crowd, and DeSantis snapped. Take a look at this.
Take any questions from voters, Governor? Governor, how come you're not taking questions from voters?
Stop coming up to me, talk to me. What are you talking about? I'm not here working with people. Are you blind? What? Are you blind?
I'm not blind.
Okay, so people are coming up to me, talking to me, whatever they want to talk to me about.
That anger was almost blinding. One of the functions of the press, of course, is to capture the statements made by the people in power and hold those statements up against the actions that they take. When a presidential candidate answers an individual's question in the middle of a noisy crowd, it's different from answering in front of a gathering of voters and reporters who can take down those comments and demand the individual seeking power is questioned, analyzed, and ultimately held to their words. But instead, this is what DeSantis is talking to voters about in those noisy crowds. So this gives you a clue.
Yes, we will. So each state is different, right? So like in Nevada, they send everyone a ballot, which is bad. But we're going to do ballot harvesting. I'm doing it. Yes. I'm not going to plug fight with one hand tied behind my back.
Yikes! We're gonna do ballot harvesting. We're gonna do ballot. Oh, a selfie? I mean, I guess he wants moments like that kept a little hush hush and not to be asked about in public. Maybe Vikram Mancharamani, who unsuccessfully campaigned for the GOP Senate nomination in New Hampshire last year, said he wished the governor had answered questions publicly. Quote: "There weren't questions or any interactivity with the audience. We'd like to hear from candidates, and we have questions of our own as citizens here in the state." When showed the clip of Mr. DeSantis' response to the reporter, he called the scene, quote, "very disappointing." DeSantis has made it clear he has no love for the free press, especially after he urged Republican-controlled legislature in Florida to weaken state laws protecting journalists from defamation lawsuits brought by elected officials. Talk about a self-serving bill. But DeSantis, you know who else isn't blind, buddy? Everyone with functioning eyes who sees every shady thing you're doing. We also, as a side note, see you make very bold leadership faces like this while trying to defend yourself.
Governor, a poll show you falling behind Trump. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
Okay, seems like a perfectly normal human response to me. A lot of these right wingers just have very strange laughs, maybe because they don't know how to exist as normal people, and occasionally a human emotion bursts through and they don't know how to process it. That's my take on it. Cenk, your thoughts?
Yeah, so look, there's nothing wrong with taking on the press. Trump has done it really well. He won one election, nearly won a second one. I take on the press all the time. I think there's tons of problems with the press. But there's different ways of doing it. And when you do it with a, directed at the right target or with a smile on your face, in a way that that resonates with people and shows the actual problems with the press. That, at least that's how I do it. Whereas Trump goes, "They're all fake news. I hate them all," and his side loves that. They're entertained by it, etc. But when DeSantis is like, "What are you, blind, huh?" It just doesn't work. It's not effective. It's not. I'm not talking about Democrats. Of course, not going to win over Democrats, or forget even independents. But even for Republicans, they don't like the press at all. But him just being like, what are you blind, huh? We're not taking questions. Or I'm taking questions here, but everybody knows you're not taking questions. You were up in the podium. We could all heard your answers, and they would be on tape if you took questions. And that wasn't from the reporters, that was from the audience. And that's not just random voters, that's Republican voters, right? So when you whispered in their ear, I'm gonna do ballot harvesting, that doesn't really count, okay? So he has a massive, massive personality problem. And he's super thin-skinned, but not in an entertaining way like Trump is. And guys, don't get me wrong, Trump is the worst. I think he's even worse than DeSantis. But I'm just being honest about the fact that a lot of voters are entertained by Trump. And it sucks that our politics has devolved to this, but DeSantis is kind of like an angry clown or a sad clown, and that just doesn't work as well.
DeSantis is like a substitute clown, and Republican Party's really going to have to find somebody else, another hero. It seems that he entered this race really as a result of peer pressure because he simply isn't ready for it, let alone the policy issues he's facing. The 6-week abortion ban he signed directly after the 12-week, the war that he has on teachers and books, the LGBTQ community, and the war he has on migrants causing a massive labor shortage. But most importantly, especially when it comes to Republicans, his war with Disney is really what's turning Republicans off more than anything, specifically because he's losing. So much to the point where you have people like Mike Huckabee and Larry Kudlow in the media making very pragmatic sense with their takedowns of Ron DeSantis when they ask him, like, why are you even running? What are you planning? You just won a second term as governor. You're going to have to explain to the American people what it is exactly that you're doing. But to the bigger point, Shank, that you raised, is his personality is really, really causing him problems because he doesn't come off like a strong man. You really can see through it that it seems that he's just genuinely uncomfortable with people. It makes him insecure, and like he's just doing everything he can to just get away. One of his fans actually, there was another video, they were saying like, man, I drove over an hour to come see you. And he's like, thanks for that. And then he just kept on going. But he just doesn't seem to have any of the juice or the sauce necessary, especially not in 2024 going against someone like Donald Trump. But he's just doing really bad.
Yeah, so one last thing for me, guys, or two last things. So first off, he's never really been challenged. He ran against Democrats. Democrats run the softest, weakest campaigns in history, right? They barely laid a glove on him. So the minute he runs up against a tough opponent like Trump, he's melting, and he's not used to it. He's used to patsies. Oh, golly gee, I tried to beat Ron DeSantis, but I didn't say anything bad about him at all. So he's not used to this. And what does he have? All he is a copycat of Trump. So, I mean, look, Ben made a great point on our great American comeback. That's the name of your tour? That's just different words for make America great again. That's so weak. And then he does the Trump hand motions. Dude, you're running against him. Nobody else does this, okay? When you copy him, you look pathetic. And finally, to the other point that Ben made, this guy's running on freedom. There's, I'm for freedom. I mean, not for freedom of the press or not freedom of speech, but freedom for me to dominate you with my weak sauce stuff. Yeah, no, this guy, somebody else is gonna have to beat Trump. I think, honestly, the only person, especially in the Republican primary, that could beat Trump is Trump, because these guys are all super weak. They can't do it.
Totally, and I don't understand what his thought process is, because he's afraid of Trump, and it comes through. It comes through very much. I mean, as I predicted, and as perhaps was obvious, he was going to take on Trump more directly once he announced, because people were criticizing him for not, which he is now doing, but he's doing it very weakly. As Jackson said, he doesn't have the juice, but what he really doesn't have that you need to win in today's modern Republican Party, he doesn't have the orange juice. And you need that.
Yeah, he definitely ain't got that.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that All you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.